Yo, 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 what is going on, IK fam? Your boy, BN, Mr. Kingdom Builder. We are back again for another dope Infinity Kingdom video. As always, before we get started, make sure you guys sub, drop that likeness, and of course, ring that lovely notification bell to get updates when we have new videos coming out. Okay, today, you might be wondering why we are even looking at an alliance chat. Well, I wanted to pre-record this video to release at some point in the future because this is something that I noticed is a big trend in Kingdom Builders, and I want to give you it directly from the source. Now, I want to preface with some context that, one, I did not participate in this alliance discussion. I merely was just checking in periodically as I usually do, and I saw a couple posts, and as I kept reading, I thought to myself, hey, this is a fantastic opportunity to talk about something that is very real for many alliances and many players in Kingdom Builders that go through similar things like this. And essentially what we're going to talk about is how invading players or players came in to a server with the intent of wanting to just kind of cause havoc and chaos, and then you'll hear rumblings of players talking about leaving and organizing a large group to leave and to go to another server because they just don't want to play in a server where the threat of just being attacked and anything else is looming over them. And this hits home because, one, the biggest thing that you hear me talk about is how the majority of players, if not arguably everyone in a server, just does not want to unnecessarily fight. And I'll stick with majority here. Unnecessarily fight or be unnecessarily brought into a fight by being attacked. And this is very important in Kingdom Builders because you, in my opinion, really need to give players a choice. And you should never take that choice away from them. Yes, you can make the argument that this is the way that the game's mechanics are, that you can do this, there's no rules against it. But again, keep in mind, you are building a kingdom. You inherently need to make rules, right? I remember I was talking to a game developer maybe about a couple months ago, and they were telling me that they were having a discussion with another bigger game developer who made a pretty popular kingdom builder. And they basically told them that all they did was create this sandbox for players and alliances to build from on the ground up. And that is very much how I look at Kingdom Builders these days, which is that you are really first and foremost building a kingdom together and then working on progressing your account. You're doing that inherently just by default anyways. But the one thing that the majority of players that play these types of games just either do not know right away, or it may take them a while to see it, is that you are literally supposed to be working with everyone to build a kingdom. And yes, you could play out that scenario multiple ways. You can do that diplomatically, you can do that via war until you're just kind of at the top and survival of the fittest and you can make the shots. But what are the repercussions of that? Right? You may lose activity, your server might die out faster, you may not be able to complete certain events, you may not be able to participate in certain events, right? A good example is, once we have Throne of the Supreme come out, or better yet, when it does come out, right, or TOTS-wise, you may not be able to because you're going to need 1,000 players to participate, 1,000 active lords to even participate in that, right? So that means that your small group of, like, spenders, if you just want to limit it to that, won't even be able to take advantage of the event because your server won't be populated with enough activity to even allow them eligibility access, right? That could be a reason why even some of those players leave, right? So again, there's repercussions and kind of pros and cons to everything. But without further ado, right, let me talk about what the situation is here. Is that as I was reading Alliance Chat, something happened, and I saw some posts, and I'm just going to kind of read through a few of these to give you a rundown. So VHow here said, and I'll just kind of go through them. You see, you can see where he jumped after his troops hit. If someone is close to garrison, right, they provide the link to the player name, the chords. I said, did you get points? Nice. And then the first inkling here is that guy must be one of the new guests, right? ... Is he testing us? Not sure. All the accounts that he chose are level 33, 6 level higher than himself in the top 10 alliance. It doesn't seem random. And then you have a player that kind of brings the discussion in a more solid direction, which is the players in the server should either go all-out war against these new people or everyone migrate. Yes. If our 170k players are just going to bubble and hide, we are doomed. I don't have any information about what's going down at the moment. I have 2 space portals. I am ready to move and save myself anytime. Right, then you start getting some of these questions that are coming in from some other players, and it trends in the situation of understanding what is possible and what is not possible. Right? What are you able to fight against? What are you not able to fight against? Right? These are very important things to understand before anyone, and I'm not saying this for anyone that we're going to read comments on, but just before anyone can really have a good way of responding or posting about what their opinion is. Because I'll often see times where people will say, well, gosh, man, how weak is our server? We can't even fight against these rogues, right? And it's just not having an understanding of, again, what is possible and what's not possible based on the tools and utilizations of what you can do in-game. So then you got some people who are like, what's going on? Right? Someone's like, oh, I need a few more space teleports. The friendly alliances should just team up against the bullies, and I'm sure they'll learn their lesson. Still, alliance is getting bigger and bigger. They are 9 players now. Then you see buy portals, save your coins, defend yourself until you can leave. I would probably migrate out on the day KE starts of KOTH. I'm not giving them free coins. I'll probably migrate to S74 free points. And then some people were like, everyone is migrating. Someone said most of us. And this is just where it starts getting in to an understanding that this is an option for players that are in an alliance that's at level 9 at minimum, because you need to be level 9 in order to get space teleports, right? And you can grind those out on a slow process, right? I mean, by the time you hit alliance level 9, if you are saving alliance coins, there is a good chance that you could probably have 200, 250 to 300k coins. I would say that's like a conservative estimate. If you play daily, I would say 250 to 300,000 coins is very easy to do, right? As a free to play. And that will net you anywhere from maybe 12 to 15 space teleports. That is more than enough for what a free to play would need to migrate out of a server. And so again, it's not out of the realm of possibility, right? And yeah, it's going to take you a couple months to hit Alliance level 9. Again, I mean, I would assume probably somewhere, I think we said something like 3 to 4 months, right? If you're in a free to play alliance and you have 100% activity, everyone's donating. I mean, again, that could be like a minimum threshold, but you will eventually get there, and it won't take you that much time. Again, if you play daily and you're in an active alliance, but this just shows you that, right? You had a group come in, and they're either causing chaos or havoc, or they're just stronger than other players, and that is a turnoff. So keep in mind, these players came in to cause havoc, but then in some situations you're going to have a group of players or however many that leave, and that could lower the activity enough to almost make it completely pointless and almost wasteful for those people that came into the server just to do nothing but go around and hit people. And then you have those people, if not more than those people, leave, and now you're stuck basically holding the rock in your hand, right, with nothing, because your server's losing activity and dying out. So keep in mind, that is what I would say would be the repercussion, right, or the other side of the fence when it comes to whether or not you're someone who's deciding to go over to a server just because all you want to do is fight. Right. Now, yeah, you might do that, but in my opinion, I will say this. I do think it's a waste of teleports. I understand that there are some players who just, all they want to do is see the world burn, right? And they just want to cause chaos. And I find the funny part is, they're more oftentimes than not, right, usually kind of stuck holding the rock, because a lot of people are just going to migrate out if all they're doing is fighting nonstop, or they'll just stop playing their accounts and reroll somewhere else, right? And then they're just kind of stuck playing. Again, it depends. I mean, if you're someone who's willing to spend money, right, for that kind of select few or that 1%, it probably doesn't matter too much, right? You probably don't mind going from one server, wait a month, buy up enough teleports to go to another server, right? And the game enjoys your investment. So there's always going to be people like that, and in those types of situations, you're not really going to be able to get around that too much. But there are things you can do to combat that, right? As far as kind of keeping your cap at 1 mil all the time. Anyways, let's move on, because I think there's a few other good points here. So you had someone said, "G MYT URW does not kill the enemies. I will. Most people will stay probably. A big group is going to 74. They said, and it looks like like 30 to 40 days." Let's see here. And then you hear this person say, like, the invaders are friends of Meliodas. This is, of course, 36, if you might not have figured that out by now, right? A server that we did our second project in. This player being a part of that rebel group, GA, that wanted to come in and just kind of cause chaos in the server. And I'll link to a video down below in the description for those of you who'd like some interesting context or explanation on how things went. But essentially, right, these players kind of had these ill intentions coming in, and just wanted to essentially do nothing but fight and kind of ruin the project. And so now they're kind of the big alliance here, and it's essentially a pressure that's all on them now to try and either stabilize the server, figure something out, however it may be, and which is usually the case for anyone, right, who is a top alliance. If you don't have an organized body, a lot more oftentimes than not, people will look to the number one alliance, and then more often than not, beyond that, right, the R6 and officers there. And then someone said, that's why, right? They're like, invaders are friends. I was like, oh, I get it now. And then this player says, is it allowed to invade server? Shouldn't someone take action, right? So again, this is coming from an example of someone who just doesn't know, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know. And the short version here is, again, this is one of the reasons why you do things like keeping your cap to 1 mil. And for anyone who wants to come in above that, you should, in my opinion, you really should have a migration application. You should interview people. If you don't know them, you should do background checks on them. Essentially, what you do by that is you ask them where they played. You make an account in that server. You interview R6's officers and any members, and you just ask them, hey, do you have any experience with this player? Or if that player is still there, then you can reference to them. You can look at their honor points, and then you can kind of ask questions based on the information you're able to discern once you're in that server. And then you had this person say, because I found the server where I want to be, and it is not guaranteed that big bad guys will not migrate there too. So, right, someone said, shouldn't you take action? Right. In this case, keep in mind, if you don't have any players that are above a mil power and lord power by the time 90 days comes up, right, that is a telltale sign. Right. You will need some players in your server over a mil power by the time 90 days comes up, because in order to act as a deterrent, you need to have people that are most likely going to be stronger than anyone that can come. Now, on the flip side, let's say there was just, a big group of, however many people that wanted to come in and just cause havoc, right? Keep in mind, it is still a worse situation for the people that are coming in. Even if it was 20, 30, 70, 80 people that organized, right, they're having to save up all those space teleports, and then beyond that, unless they're all mid to heavy spenders and they have no problem rebuying space teleports over a month's period of time to then TP again and go somewhere else, right, if they're just all trying to stay under a mil lord power, which is going to be hard to do, especially if you want to be effective and you don't want to have to keep having a waiting period, right, it's going to be more detrimental, in my opinion, on their end, because they're not going to have access to shells, most likely, right? They'll probably get negative titles right away. They're not going to have additional bonuses and buffs from cities, right? There are other factors that will play a hand when you think about how you can utilize what the game gives you against a potential invading group or players. And then we scroll on. Someone says, yes, it's allowed. Only a stable and strong server, the invaders are repulsed. I mean, this is, for the most part, true. And pretty much what we had always been working to build when I did my first project in S8, second in 36, and then now in 79, right, where we basically have hit a home run. We have that, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, 79 is effortlessly turning out to be what I had been hoping to build ever since my rock days of doing jumpers there, now with this being my 7th project, and hopefully the final one that I'll do in IK. It's nice to finally see those things come to fruition, and having people that really believe in what you're doing and want to be a part of it, where they relish and enjoy the opportunity to repel any potential invaders. So, and of course, I think some of them just welcome the enjoyable free honor to an extent. And then, right, this next player says something that I thought was really insightful, is that all new servers risk the same fate. If they are lucky, they get good people migrating. And this, for the most part, is true. This is one of the things that we talk about. If you watched my last video, or one of my last videos, talking about how it's really good to migrate to old servers, or to start accounts in old servers that you know are stable, this is one of the reasons why. This is probably the most important reason why. Because when you go to a new server, unless you are going there and you know that there's a big group going, like a big jumper group, or a group of alliances that are going to start out there, you have no idea how that server is going to pan out. You don't know how it's going to look week 1, week 2, week 3, month 1, month 2, month 3. You have no idea. But what you do know is that if you look at an older server and you take a look at there, you interview some of the leads, you ask questions, you will find out that there are some servers, even beyond 79, that are balanced, that are unified, that do not tolerate rogue players, that will allow for you to progress as fast as you can, because they will most likely make spots for you in current active alliances, and you'll be able to progress your account so much faster in an older server than you will a newer server, right? Albeit the big point that we talked about before is that, yes, you'll just miss out on getting that day one experience and some early rewards, but they're not make or break, right? You can always make another account and play a new server from day one if you truly want to, just so you can get that experience. But if you're ever going to play a main account, this is one of the most important reasons why, and this player hit on it as well. And then he says, well, I spent some time to investigate to find another strong, stable server. This person said, did you inquire on the official IK Discord? Very nice environment to play. Rankings will reset at Migrate. Let me see here. Right, this player was saying they have some scout accounts, and they look at a couple different servers. Right, and this person said, I stopped growing my account more than 20 days ago, so I only need 3 ports. I mean, again, that's smart, right? If you're trying to save the amount of space portals that you need, though I would imagine the longer you're in an active alliance, right, you're still going to get those daily alliance credits, even if it's just from the daily chests for your alliance level that you'll open up. Again, these are things that you're always going to get. And then you'll see here, right, where they say if you want to migrate on another server, you will be able to do it. Otherwise, you will have to wait for alliance to become 9 again. Right, and that's the thing, because that's obviously when you get access to space teleports, like we said earlier on. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. I think that might have been it, and I could probably just end in closing. Let's see here. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So, I mean, again, that kind of sums it up. Again, big shout out to PFF and them for hosting me temporarily, and obviously having the opportunity to get space teleports here, because since I already have enough to migrate out, you know, it's nice to be able to, you know, get into a nice friendly alliance, at least temporarily. And I think that's always a big thing if you're ever able to get into an alliance, even if it's just to help them donate and rack up some space teleports, you know, while you're doing it, to look to migrate out, because you're still helping the alliance by donating as well, and then if you end up contributing to any events. Now, with all of that being said, again, my point here in closing is to show you, or was to show you, that there are many alliances that fall into the same situation that some members, however many, in PFF are in, and are looking at the situation in their server where they may consider migrating out. And you most likely will never know it until you know it, right? So if you, like, in a situation with, you know, like, God, whoever it is, right? GA, I guess now MYT, right? You are literally in a situation where, and this goes for any server, right? If you're the number 1 alliance, or number 2 alliance, or if you're someone who is just, you know, running the server however you see fit, you have no idea if players are just sitting there stocking up alliance teleports, if they're buying them, if they're waiting to get them from the alliance shop, if they're waiting for their alliance to hit level 9 so they can look to migrate out, because they just don't want to play in the kind of server that you're looking to build, right? Or that you are enforcing. And that is one of the most important things, because again, when we look at events like TOTS, where you have to have 1,000 active players in your server, these are things that are now going to start affecting and almost requiring you to have a level of cooperation in the server if you want to have high player retention. So anyways, this is just kind of my daily dose of thoughts. I thought I would share this. I'll probably release this later at some long point where some time has passed. But I just wanted to share this because I thought it was very insightful from the conversation that I saw. And even though no one can do anything about these people leaving, right? You can't stop people from purchasing teleports. I do hope, if anything, it is something that some of you can connect with. And I would love to hear from you, the players. If you find that you are in a situation similar to to some of the members here in PFF and 36 are in your server, if you're someone, right, let me know what are the reasons that you are buying teleports to leave. And have you found yourself in a similar situation like this alliance or some of the members in this alliance or other ones that are causing you to leave because of what is happening in your server, whether it's by the group of alliances, the number one alliance, a rogue player, a few rogue players, players that invaded, right? I'd love to know all of your thoughts down in those comments below. That's it for me. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later.